It's time to get your news on. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
It's the national news from the WIA for week commencing March 16, 2025. And this week, WIA board elections, WIA Director and Secretary Peter Clee, VK1WIA, WIA Affiliated Clubs Coordinator Angelo, VK2NWT, and WIA's Education Committee Spokesman Phil Waite, VK2ASD. But wait, there's much, much more in this edition of news from the Wireless Institute of Australia. I'm Editor Graham, VK4BB.
Who listens to radio?
I am Alan, VK2COD in Sydney.
This is Dennis, VK4AE.
This is John, VK5DJ for the Southeast Radio Group.
Hi, this is Nathan, VK5OG.
73s, this is Steve, VK4SJH.
That's all.
It has been a year now since the introduction of the new amateur radio licence conditions. The Wireless Institute of Australia is interested in your experience with the transition to these new conditions and the administrative framework surrounding them. We have created a short 10-minute survey for all Australian radio amateurs and encourage everyone to participate. This is an opportunity to share your experience with the transition and the new class licence arrangements. The link is available on the WIA website. We are also keen to hear from amateurs who have used the new documentation in situations where proof of a valid amateur radio licence was required. Additionally, the survey includes questions about the revised call sign allocation process for the Australian external and Antarctic territories. Please note, all information shared with the WIA will be treated with the strictest confidence. Please share this survey with your amateur radio friends, including those who are not WIA members. It is open to all radio amateur operators. Thank you in advance for your contribution. The WIA will compile the results and use them to work with the Australian Communications and Media Authority, as well as the Department of Communications and the Arts, to help improve services for amateur radio community in Australia. Get in quick, as the survey closes at midnight on the 13th of April 2025. This has been Peter, VK8ZZ, Secretary for the WIA.
Don't forget to check out the new education website at www.education.wia.org.au. You'll find lots of useful information about how to get an amateur radio licence, lots of training resources for clubs and individuals, and how to test the EMR safety of your station. Please have a look at the new website and let us know what you think. Once again, www.education.wia.org.au.
Hi everyone, this is Angelo, VK2NWT, WIA Affiliated Clubs Coordinator. Well, the new public insurance year for WIA Affiliated Clubs starts on the 1st of April, which is a little over 2 weeks away. Most clubs by now will have received an email from Gips Insure insurance brokers advising of the upcoming policy renewal and to advise of any changes to their status that may affect the renewal policy that's being offered. Each year the WIA conducts an audit to ensure that all WIA clubs continue to meet the WIA's basic requirements for affiliation. That is, to have at least 25% of your club's total membership also current financial members of the WIA. Whilst the overwhelming majority of clubs are well and truly over the 25% requirement, some are not, which will unfortunately result in the public liability insurance not being offered and losing WIA affiliation. So I strongly encourage all club secretaries and presidents to check their members' WIA membership status right now and to ensure that your club's membership list is recorded on your WIA club webpage. Now, the process for advising the WIA of your club's membership level is very easy. The nominated person in your club must firstly log on to your WIA club page, after which the club membership list will appear near the bottom of the screen and ready for updating. In the drop-down box, enter the call signs of all of your club's members. Those club members that don't have a call sign should simply have their name recorded with the letters SWL entered alongside their name. The WIA will then cross-reference those call signs with their database and determine your club's WIA membership level. As I have mentioned many times in the past, it is absolutely vital that your club's contact details are always kept up to date on the WIA website so that you don't miss out on the correspondence that either the WIA, Gibson Shaw or anybody for that matter may want to send you. You can review the WIA policy on club affiliation and how to join the WIA webpage or follow the links in the text version of this segment. As always, if you have any questions about this issue or WIA affiliation matters in general, please contact me via email at vk2nwt@wia.org.au. This has been Angelo, VK2NWT for WIA National News.
Board election. Seems the results are in, but it is embargoed until March 28. The newsroom has been advised of that date in a post by our secretary. Now, I, for one, will be looking forward to seeing the actual numbers assigned to each of the 5 candidates when our WIA returning officer posts the official publication. As we say in the classics, stay tuned.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now with international news, Jason, VK2LAW.
Hello. Leading international news this week to Washington, RadioWorld.com are reporting Democrats have introduced legislation to prohibit the FCC from revoking broadcast licenses or taking action against companies based on viewpoints aired on their stations. The Broadcast Freedom and Independence Act states explicitly that the Commission is an independent agency and must not use its authority to execute politically motivated attacks against licensees. Democrats are worried that the Commission under Chairman Brendan Carr could target specific broadcasters based on the views they express. 3 senators wrote to Carr and Commissioner Nathan Symington last month, saying the Republicans on the FCC appeared to be opening or reopening investigations into broadcast companies without evidence of wrongdoing, in what appears to be an attempt to intimidate broadcasters for political purposes. The new bill would seem to have no realistic chance of passage given that the Republicans control both chambers of Congress and that the bill would have to be signed by President Trump to become law. But it is an effort by the Democrats to amplify their concerns over the current direction of the FCC. ARRL Honorary Vice President Frank Butler, Whiskey 4 Romeo Hotel, celebrated his 100th birthday on March the 6th. Frank has been a member of the ARRL for at least 78 years and lives in Fort Walton Beach, Florida. He's a member of the ARRL Maxim Society at the Benefactor class and as a life member. Happy birthday, Frank. The Great South Bay Amateur Radio Club, according to the newspaper Herald Beacon, serving Long Island, New York, will be commemorating the birthday of Guglielmo Marconi on Saturday, April 26th. Marconi was responsible for sending the first communication with ships at sea. There will also be a replica of the shack that Marconi communicated in. Enjoy history and transmissions being sent on this day throughout the world as radio enthusiasts celebrate the birthday of Marconi. As Bruce and Cole report each week during their special interest group news, there are lots of OTAs, YOTA, SOTA, JOTA as an example. But now comes a new one. Not that it's adventurous at all, and you don't need to go hiking, swimming or camping. GOTA, Grids on the Air Activity and Awards Program, offers new challenges for HF enthusiasts. Since March the 1st, 2025, a fortnight or so back, this initiative, endorsed by various major ham radio organisations, has been running a challenge to shortwave operators at any level of skills and equipment to engage in the ultimate DX art of grid hunting. Grid hunting consists in chasing grid squares of the worldwide Maidenhead locator system, for example IO75 or KN78, etc., much like VHF, SHF enthusiasts have been doing for years. The difference with the new Grids on the Air GOTA program is it focuses on promoting activity on the HF bands and on phone and CW, as a similar program is already available for digital modes. GOTA aims to give ham operators, experienced and possibly jaded, as well as newcomers and SWLs, a reason to engage in a satisfying hunting activity involving QSOs with stations from all worldwide squares, near or far, important or not. ATU discusses amateur radio expansion on the African continent. At the 6th meeting of the African Telecommunications Union Task Group on Spectrum recommendations held last week, a paper proposing the ATU promoting the development of amateur radio on the African continent was presented. The paper highlights that amateur radio is a vital resource for personal development, technological innovation, emergency response and global cultural exchange. In Africa, it holds untapped potential to bridge communication gaps, especially in emergency disaster situations, support drive technological advancements, and equip individuals, especially youth, with critical technical skills. However, despite its numerous benefits, amateur radio remains underutilised across the continent due to unenabling legal environments, limited infrastructure and low public awareness. Addressing these barriers could unlock significant opportunities for growth, empowerment and connectivity. With 37 IARU member societies and approximately 3,000 licensed radio amateurs in Africa, this recommendation underscores the urgent need for a unified approach to promoting amateur radio in Africa. The recommendations emphasise regulatory reform, infrastructure enhancement for emergency response, capacity building, public awareness and youth engagement. By adopting and implementing these strategies and recommended actions, the ATU and its partners would leverage amateur radio as a powerful tool for sustainable development, technical capacity building and regional connectivity, particularly during times of disaster when reliable communication is crucial. During the discussion, delegates asked that the countries that have a well-established amateur radio service share their experience. Both Egypt and South Africa indicated they would share their experiences before the next meeting. For WIA National News in Sydney, I'm Jason, VK2LAW.
We are VK1WIA. Now, operational news with VK4FUQ. Felix.
Hello there. H.G. Wells and a masterpiece, The Time Machine. So let's fire it up and head back to 2023 and the WIA Contest Champion results for 2023. The WIA Contest Champion Peter Brown Trophy is awarded annually for the best combined effort in WIA-sponsored contests. It recognises those who have participated in multiple WIA contests and submitted logs throughout the year. There were a total of 349 contestants during 2023. The winner of the VK4PJ Peter Brown Trophy for 2023 is Alan Shannon, VK4SN, with a score of 500 points. Alan entered 7 of the 9 eligible contests and gained 5 second places, 1 third place and 1 fourth place. Congratulations to Alan. Second place went to John Isles, VK2YW, with a score of 320 points. Equal third place was Diane Main, VK4DI, and Bill Main, VK4ZD, with a score of 316 points each. Fifth place was Laurie Mew, VK5LJ, with a score of 300 points. Well done. Now, contest-wise 2025, let's head down to Townsville.
This is Dennis, VK4AE, Contest Manager for the John Moyle Field Day 2025. As this news goes to air, the contest is nearing completion, and as many stations will still be active, I wish them well for the remainder of the contest. Some logs have already been arriving since last night. There does not seem to be as many as the number received at this point last year. It's highly recommended that once you've submitted your log, you should check a bit later that your call sign has been added to the list of logs received. If your call is not on the list, then it might not have been received. And once the contest closes, I can do nothing about adding another log. In the same way, a couple of logs were submitted using an M1MM format that does not contain all of the information required by the John Moyle Field Day under the VHF-UHF rules, and requires much extra work for the contest manager and entrant in an attempt to fix these logs. It is timely to remind you that while there's not a lot of time left to submit the log, it will pass very quickly, as the final date is on Friday, the 5th of April 2025. This is required by the very long lead times for the AR magazine now. Following that date, all of the logs will be processed and the results will be prepared and made available soon after. The results will be shown on the WIA contest page as soon as they are ready. So check that your call is on the list, resend it if it isn't. It might also be a good idea to submit your log now, as you never know, something can delay the activities for the next few days. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis. Now, next weekend, 22 and 23 March, the Africa All Mode International Contest. The IARU 100th Anniversary Centennial QSO Party. The IARU CQP will be held for 9 days, beginning Saturday 12 April and ending Sunday 20 April. This event will celebrate 100 years of the IARU. Harry Angel Memorial 80-metre Sprint, Saturday, May 3. VK Shires Contest, 7th and 8th June. NZ Straight Key Night. Next New Zealand Straight Key Night will be held Sunday, 8 June, from 0800 hours to 0900 hours UTC on 80 metres. IARU HF World Championship. The 24-hour IARU HF World Championship starts at 1200 hours UTC on Saturday 12 July and ends at 11:59 hours UTC on Sunday 13 July. This annual contest supports amateur self-training in radio communications, improving operating skills, conducting technical investigations and intercommunicating with other amateurs around the world, using the 160, 80, 40, 20, 15 and 10 metre bands. Ken Yamamoto, JA1CJP, Secretary IARU Region 3, in an email passed to us by WIA Secretary Peter Klee, reminds us here at the WIA that in this contest, multipliers are the total number of ITU zones plus IARU member society HQ stations worked on each band, not mode. Thus, Society's HQ stations WIA participation is very important for the multipliers. Trans-Tasman Low Band Contest, 19 July. Now Dick's window to the world. Don, KW7R, is active as V73KW from the Marshall Islands in the northwestern Pacific Ocean. He is there on a work assignment until September, and in his spare time he operates CW and FT8 on various bands. QSL V73KW via Logbook of the World. South Africa. On 20 May 2025, the South African Radio League will celebrate its 100th anniversary. The SARL Centenary Marathon QSO Party has been running since 1 January. The SARL, with the aid of its members and associated clubs, are on the air with special event call sign ZS100 SARL, as well as the permanent call sign ZS6 SRL and ZS9 HQ, and from April. Several awards will be available. See webpage mysarl.org.za. British Rowers Amateur Radio Society is running special event stations GB0 LMR and GB2 SDR during 2025 to celebrate 200 years of train travel. Operation will be mainly focused on 40 metres, but there may be additional activity on other bands. QSL via the Bureau. And with that, I'm Felix, VK4FUQ with bird noises in the background for WIA National News.
From here, there and everywhere, you've tuned to the Wireless Institute of Australia's National News Service. We are VK1WIA. Now, Special Interest Group News with Cole, VK3GTV.
Hello, first up in Worldwide Special Interest Groups, it's Final Frontier. ISS astronauts reject call for early retirement of the ISS. Astronauts on the International Space Station said they disagreed with Elon Musk's claim that the station was past its prime and should be deorbited in as soon as 2 years. Speaking to reporters March 4, NASA astronauts Sonny Williams, KD-5PLB and Butch Wilmore, who've been on the station since June on a flawed Starliner test flight, and Nick Hague, KG-5TMV, the commander of the Crew 9 mission that will bring the two back with him later this month, addressed political issues like an early retirement of the ISS and Musk's claim that he offered NASA an early return of the Starliner crew. Musk on February 20 said the ISS has served its purpose and has very little incremental utility. Musk called for deorbiting the ISS as soon as possible, which he said should be in 2 years. NASA's current plans call for operating the ISS to 2030. Williams said she was extremely impressed coming up to the ISS and seeing how much science is going on. Williams said when asked about Musk's comments, "I would say we're actually in our prime right now. We've got all the power, all the facilities up and operating. I'd think that right now was probably not the right time to call it quits," she concluded. "We've probably until 2030 in our agreements, and I think it's probably really accurate because we should make the most of this space station for our taxpayers and for all of our international partners and hold our obligations," she said. More space news, and as part of the payloads of the Firefly Blue Ghost mission 1, VGM-1, that recently touched down on the Moon, the Lunar GNSS receiver experiment, LUGRA, has become the first practical demonstration of acquiring and tracking Earth orbital GNSS satellites. LUGRA consists of a weak-signal GNSS receiver, a high-gain L-band patch antenna, the requisite amplification and filter circuits designed to track a number of GPS and Galileo signals. Designed by NASA and the Italian Space Agency, ISA, the LUGRA payload's goal was to demonstrate GNSS-based positioning, navigation and timing at the Moon. This successful demonstration makes it plausible that future lunar missions, whether in orbit or on the surface, could use Earth's GNSS satellites to navigate and position themselves with. On the way to the lunar surface, LUGRA confirmed being able to track GNSS at various distances from the Earth. Both LUGRA and BGM-1 are part of NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services (CLPS) program, with BGM-1 delivering a total of 10 payloads to the Moon, each designed to study a different aspect of the lunar environment, as well as hardware and technologies relevant to future missions. Saying farewell is hard, and in the case of the Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft, doubly so, seeing as how they've been with us for more than 47 years. From the highs of the 1970s and 1980s during their primary mission in our solar system to their journey into the unknown of deep space, every bit of information which their instruments record and send back is something unique that we could not obtain any other way. Yet, with the shutting down of 2 more instruments, both spacecraft are now getting awfully close to the end of their extended missions. Last February 25, the Cosmic Ray System, CRS, on Voyager 1 was disabled, with the Low-Energy Charged Particle Instrument, LECP, on Voyager 2 to follow on March 24. With each spacecraft losing about 4 watts of available power each year from their RTGs, the next few instruments to be turned off are already known. Voyager 1's LECP will be turned off next year, with that same year Voyager 2's CRS also getting disabled. This would leave both spacecraft with only their magnetometer, MAG, and plasma wave subsystem, PWS. These provide data on the local magnetic field and electron density, respectively, with at least one of these instruments on each spacecraft likely to remain active until the end of this decade, possibly into the next. With some luck, both spacecraft will see their 50th birthday before humanity's only presence in deep space falls silent. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Internet, the hams domain, DX data, a new DX cluster. If you're into chasing DX, contesting or just casually tuning the bands, you might be interested in checking out DX data. That's dxdata.io, a new web-based DX cluster. DX data is designed to make finding the DX you're interested in a little easier, with a clean interface, instant updates, and plenty of filtering options. So what's different about DX data? DX data pulls in DX spots from both DX Spider and the Reverse Beacon network, giving users the most comprehensive view possible of what's happening on the bands. It also provides streaming real-time updates using WebSockets, so you never have to refresh the page. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, Military. Something that you generally don't expect as a North America-based enthusiast is to listen in on Russian military communications during their war in Ukraine via WebSDR, or that these communications would be passing through US military satellites that are happy to just broadcast anything. Yet that's the situation that the Save It for Parts YouTube channel recently described. As it turns out, there's a gaggle of UFOs up there, as the US Department of Defense lovingly calls them. Between 1979 and 1989, 8 FLT SATCOM launches took place, with FLT SATCOM 7 and 8 still operating today. They were later joined by their successor UHF follow-on, UFO, with 11 launches between 1993 and 2003. All of these operate in the UHF spectrum, with some UFO satellites also covering other bands. Their goal is to provide communication for the military's forces, with these satellites for the most part acting as simple repeaters. Over time, non-military parties learn to use these satellites too, even if it's technically illegal in many jurisdictions. As described in the video, if you listen in on WebSDR streams from Ukraine, you can not only find encrypted military comms, but also unencrypted Russian radio traffic. It seems that in lieu of being provided with proper, encrypted radio systems, Russian forces are using these US military satellites for communication, much like how US and NATO forces would have. This is reminiscent of how Russian troops were caught using Discord via Starlink for communication before Russian command shut down Discord. Worldwide Special Interest Groups, QRP. Ken Yamamoto, JE1CJP, Secretary IARU Region 3, has reminded us, the WIA, that QRP Day happens on June 17. Peter Klee, Secretary, forwarded that notice on to the WIA National Newsroom, which in part says that Region 3 societies help to promote the IARU objectives for QRP operation. Accordingly, member societies are requested to take note and appropriate actions with reference to the holdings of the following events. For example, in order to contribute to more effective use of radio spectrum, holding of a QRP field day, of a QRP contest, distribution of QRP transmitter kits and reference book, and workshop of QRP operation. As they say in the classics, stay tuned for the details. And with the final segment for this week, it's over to Alec, VK2MV, with Worldwide Special Interest Groups Radio Scouting.
Over the weekend of the 22nd and the 23rd of February, the annual tree planting event in Loch Dan Scout Centre, County Wicklow took place. Radio Scouting Ireland used this time to bring exciting radio-related activities to the scouts attending the event. A HF station and a 2-meter station were set up to allow scouts to get on air while being supervised and to use the call sign Echo India 0 Yoda. In addition, scouts also took part in a range of fun and educational games using PMR handsets. It seems like it was a fantastic event and a great opportunity to introduce over 200 scouts to the world of amateur radio. Radio Scouting Ireland report that they have a busy year ahead with some amazing opportunities to promote the hobby to young people. To meet these requirements, they depend very much on the donations of equipment, the goodwill and assistance from the IRTS radio clubs and individual operators throughout the country. For VK1WIA National News, I am Alec, VK2MV in Sydney. Now back to you, Cole.
Thank you, Alec. And that's the latest Worldwide Special Interest Group news. I'm Cole, VK3GTV.
It's a date, and clubs are welcome to email text with audio for this section, as Graham, VK3GL, has done this week for his club, Moorabbin District. Hamfest, May 10.
The Moorabbin District Amateur Radio Club is pleased to announce the 2025 Hamfest will be held on Saturday the 10th of May, with doors opening at 10 a.m. This year's event will be held at the Kingston City Hall, located at the corner of Nepean Highway and South Road, Moorabbin. The Moorabbin Radio Club's annual Hamfest is proud to be Victoria's biggest, with displays and sales of new and pre-loved equipment. This event is supported by commercial traders with specials on offer, as well as many second-hand trailers, and it's an event not to be missed by anyone interested in radio communications and electronics. As well as many bargains available on the day, there'll be major and minor door prizes. Light refreshments are available. Trader bookings online at www.mdrc.org.au/Hamfest. General inquiries can be made by emailing Graham Lewis, VK3GL@wia.org.au, or by phoning mobile 0418 171 601. Proudly Victoria's biggest Hamfest, a must-see, must-come event. 7-3 from Graham, VK3GL.
Thanks, Graham. And with that, we wrap up this edition of news from the WIA. Until we meet again, I'm Graham, VK4BB editor. Walk softly.
This has been the Wireless Institute of Australia with the weekly news service. This broadcast is in text, audio and video and is accessed on wia.org.au.
Courtesy of Bevan, VK5BD's ATV and YouTube channel, this has been WIA National News. We're back now, live and local, and your voice, your callbacks. And don't forget, tick like.